Avery stood in the doorway of the habitat module, her coffee mug frozen halfway to her lips. The scene before her defied every expectation she'd had when she woke up that morning on the Karathi research station. The 3 Karathi cubs, each roughly the size of a tiger cub, but with 6 legs, crystalline eyes and enough teeth to make any earth predator jealous, sat in a semicircle around her open tool bag. Screwdrivers, wrenches, and her prized multi-tool lay scattered across the floor like toys in a playroom. One cub had somehow managed to attach her power drill to the wall panel. Sideways. "No," Avery whispered. "No, no, no." The largest cub, who she'd mentally nicknamed Chaos, looked up at her with those huge, innocent eyes and chirped proudly. Behind him, the environmental control panel now sported 3 additional buttons that definitely hadn't been there yesterday. They were glowing purple. Elijah. Avery's voice carried through the corridor with the kind of urgency usually reserved for hull breaches. "Elijah!" Her research partner appeared within seconds, his dark hair still disheveled from sleep. "What's wrong?" "Are we under attack?" He stopped, taking in the scene. Oh. Avery gestured wildly at the cubs. "Oh?" "Elijah, they've been in my tools. They've been fixing things." The second cub, Mayhem naturally, was currently trying to unscrew the gravity plating with what appeared to be a sonic wrench set to the wrong frequency. The metal was vibrating in a way that made Avery's teeth hurt. Elijah, infuriatingly calm as always, crouched down to the cub's level. "Did you 3 have fun playing engineer?" All 3 cubs chirped in unison, a sound that their mother, Ambassador Kethrala, had once described as the universal signal of kitten mischief across all species. "Fun? Fun?" Avery set her coffee down before she threw it. "Do you see what they did to the air recycler?" She pointed to the corner where her beautifully maintained, perfectly calibrated air recycling unit now had extra tubes running in directions that violated at least 2 laws of physics and possibly 1 law of thermodynamics. Elijah examined the cub's handiwork with the analytical eye that made him an excellent xenobiologist and a terrible person to complain to. "Huh. The efficiency reading actually went up by 3%, Avery blinked. "What? Look," he tapped the display panel. Sure enough, the recycler was processing faster than it had since installation. They rerouted the secondary intake valve through the... Wait, is that a compression loop? That's actually brilliant. We couldn't do that with our design because the human-made parts can't handle the pressure variance, but they used your adjustable torquey coupler as a buffer valve. "They're 6 months old," Avery protested. "Karathi cubs start learning tool use at 3 months, Elijah reminded her, now examining the modified wall panel with growing fascination. "And they're natural problem solvers. Their species evolved in an environment where they had to modify their own dens for survival." The third cub, Catastrophe, had discovered Avery's laser level and was now creating a light show on the ceiling that was admittedly quite pretty. "That's not the point," Avery said, though her anger was deflating rapidly as she watched the efficiency numbers continue to climb. They could have hurt themselves. "Those tools are dangerous." As if on cue, Chaos picked up her plasma cutter. Avery's heart stopped. "Drop it," she said in her calmest voice. "Drop the plasma cutter, baby. That's not a toy." The cub tilted his head, those crystalline eyes reflecting the tool's indicator light. Then with surprising gentleness, he set it down and pushed it toward her with one paw. "Good kit," Elijah murmured. "Very good kit." Avery scooped up the plasma cutter and checked the safety lock. "Still engaged. Thank every star in the galaxy. We need to tell Ambassador Kethrala. Her cubs got into human equipment unsupervised." "Agreed," Elijah said. "But first look at this." He was pointing at the gravity plating that Mayhem had been working on. The cub had stopped his vibrating assault and now sat back, looking pleased. When Elijah activated his scanner, his eyebrows shot up. "The micro fissures in the plating," he said slowly. "The ones we reported last week? They're gone. The vibration frequency actually fused the molecular structure back together." He looked at Mayhem with something approaching awe. "How did you know to do that?" Mayhem chirped and pawed at a small crack in the floor panel, then looked meaningfully at the sonic wrench. They were fixing real problems, Avery realized, her perspective shifting. She knelt down, seeing her scattered tools in a new light. They weren't playing. They saw things that were broken and tried to help. Ambassador Kethrala arrived 10 minutes later, summoned by Elijah's carefully worded message. The towering Karathi warrior diplomat took one look at the scene, and released a rumbling sound that was either laughter or a growl. Possibly both. "I see my offspring have discovered human ingenuity," she said, her translator rendering her deep voice with amused resignation, "and have improved upon it as cubs often do." Improved? Avery started to protest, then looked at the efficiency readings again, then at the repaired gravity plating, then at the environmental controls which were now displaying atmospheric data she hadn't even known the sensors could detect. "They have made mess." "Yes," Kethrala continued, "but mess is how young ones learn. How all ones learn." She fixed Avery with those massive eyes. "Did they break anything beyond repair?" Avery thought about her carefully organized tool bag, now in complete disarray. She thought about her morning coffee, now cold. She thought about the 3 reports she was supposed to file today. Then she thought about the cubs' obvious pride in their work. The way they'd solved problems she hadn't even identified yet. The way they'd handled her tools with surprising care considering their age and species. "No," she admitted. "Nothing broken. Some things actually work better." "Then perhaps," Kethrala suggested, her tone gentling, "human and Karathi cubs are not so different. Both seek to understand their world by taking it apart. Both believe they can make things better with the right tools and enough determination." Elijah grinned. "She's calling us cubs," I noticed, Avery said dryly. But she was smiling now, crouching down to let chaos sniff her hand. "Okay, you little engineers. Next time maybe we do this together, with supervision?" All 3 cubs chirped enthusiastically. Famous last words, Elijah muttered. 3 hours later, after the cubs had been returned to their mother, and Avery had begun the process of documenting their improvements, her tool bag went missing again. She found it in the observatory, where the cubs had managed to fix the telescope's calibration system. The resolution was now sharp enough to count the craters on the 4th moon's smallest satellite. Avery looked at Elijah. Elijah looked at Avery. "So," he said, "do we stop them or do we just give them their own tool bags?" Avery pulled up the telescope readings, compared them to yesterday's data, and sighed the sigh of someone who knew they'd already lost this particular battle. "Get the ambassador on the comm, and order some cub-sized safety goggles. Humanity, fuck yeah?" Elijah suggested. "More like interspecies cooperation, fuck yeah," Avery corrected. "But I'll take it." Behind them, through the observation window, 3 small shapes could be seen examining the external sensor array with what looked suspiciously like her torque wrench. Twice fixed, Avery thought might just become 3 times. And honestly, she was starting to look forward to it. End.